All right, hello everybody, and welcome to the Cut to the Chase Sports Podcast. It's March Madness time. March Madness Day 1 is coming to a close. I'm your host, Chase Yantz. I'm here with Brady King. Brady, what's going on?
Not much, just other than the fact that it's really the best, one of the best times of the year. These first 2 days of March Madness are always extremely exciting. The night before really feels like Christmas Eve. Then you get in and you got so many good games, and there's always crazy things happening. Like, every year will be like, oh, I don't really see anything happening, and then crazy stuff happens.
That's the madness for you. I mean, I know we're huge football fans, but I mean, if you don't love this time of year, what are you doing at the moment? But, before we get into more stuff in the video, like and subscribe to us. We're just going to go down some of the top games that happened over day 1 of March Madness. At the time we are recording this, there are 3 games that are going on right now. North Carolina State's playing Texas Tech. Drake's playing Washington State. And Kansas is playing Samford at the moment. We'll talk about the other 13 games that happened throughout the day. We'll kind of touch on some of them, and we'll take a look at a couple of those teams on the deeper side of things. Michigan State started things off with a big win against Mississippi State earlier today. They played at 12:15 on CBS. Michigan State won 69-51, led by Tyson Walker and his 19 points and shooting 7 for 12 from the field. Big time for Michigan State in that regard. And then the next game of the day, Duquesne. That was a big one. Duquesne, who a lot of people thought that they were overseeded when it came to the selection process. They ended up beating BYU 71-67, a game where a lot of people picked BYU to win that one. And a lot of people that I know, I would say. But yeah, Duquesne was able to upset BYU in that game. And then down the list, Akron lost to Creighton 77-60. Creighton was able to get back on the right side of things. And then to finish out that first wave of games, Arizona took down Long Beach State 85-65 in that regard. Out of those 4 games, the one that caught people by surprise, and that was a good game, was Duquesne and BYU. Brady, what were your thoughts on that Duquesne and BYU matchup?
Yeah, so I was watching all of them at once, and so I got to watch a decent amount of it. And I was in a B-dubs, and a lot of the people in there had actually picked Duquesne to win, surprisingly, or like a massive group. There was like a group of like 7 people that I think all teamed up and like picked them for some reason. And every time they would hit a big 3 or a big shot, they would just erupt. And I just thought it was impressive. They played really good defense, honestly, on BYU. They played a really good defensive game. You always want to hold. I feel like holding a team under 70 is a very good recipe for winning. So especially in March Madness, if you can hold a team under 70, obviously you got to score points, but you're putting yourself in a good position. And Duquesne definitely did that. They look really good today, and I think that they definitely silenced some of the haters.
Most definitely. Yeah, most definitely. I mean, they, when playing a team like BYU that lives and dies by the 3, it was a big thing for them to be able to close out and hand on the 3-point field goal. And Duquesne, they did quite a bit inside too. That was a big thing. They're able to, get points at will when it came to getting to the basket and put BYU in a tough situation to try to claw their way back toward the end. So that was a big win for Duquesne to move on and take on Illinois in the second round. And that second wave of games, your North Carolina Tar Heels took down Wagner 90-62. Illinois took down Morehead State 85-69, and somewhat would be a popular 3-14 upset pick that a lot of people, were looking at. Oh, maybe Morehead State can do something. And it was a really good game for quite a while, but then Illinois just in that second half just started to pull away once we got past that second media timeout. So that was a big win for them. Oregon took down South Carolina 87-73. It always feels like whenever Oregon gets in the tournament, they are ready to go. Dana Altman has those guys always geared up. And I know your North Carolina team played earlier, but the big one of that second window of games was Dayton. Their comeback over Nevada. That was unbelievable. I remember I was with a couple of friends over on the campus of the University of Cincinnati and saw that point where Nevada was up about 16 points. And we're like, oh, this game's over. Dayton just went on an absolute tear in the final 5 or 6 minutes, and the Flyers are going to take on Arizona. But of those 4 games in the second wave, Brady, what caught your attention?
Yeah, definitely the Dayton game was a big one. The fact that I stopped watching. I was watching a little bit in class, honestly, and I turned it off because I thought it was over. And I saw they were coming back, and I kept up with it. And I picked Dayton to win, so I was happy they won. But it was what a comeback! Definitely very impressive. Impressive for them. UNC, obviously, my team, North Carolina. We had 3 big performances from Armando Bacot, RJ Davis, and Jalen Withers. Kind of got the easy win there. And then, sorry, what were the other games?
The other 2 games, Oregon and South Carolina, and then Morehead State and Illinois played each other.
Yeah, Oregon, South Carolina was interesting. I was pretty convinced South Carolina would win before in that one. I guess Oregon is hot from winning that tournament, Pac-12 tournament, and they definitely were the better team. And then Morehead State, Illinois, like you said, a popular 14-3 pick. But Illinois, it was tough for a while. And then Illinois just exploded towards the end and just took a commanding lead.
It definitely did. And, Illinois, I know Big Ten teams normally don't fare too well in the tournament over the last few years, but, the scoring of Terrence Shannon, 26 points, 9 for 16 from the field, he looks like an NBA prospect already. All right. And, but the other big performance, you don't see this a whole lot in college, of triple doubles. Marcus Domask, 12 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists for him. He really did a good job. I want to see the amount of turnovers he had. He only had 2 turnovers as well. So He was able to take care of the basketball and be really efficient overall, handling the ball. So just seeing what they were able to do was big. And then off the bench, Dane Danger, he was 9 for 9 from the field inside. Off the bench, 23 minutes at 21 points and 8 rebounds. He was big. And then another guy, Coleman Hawkins, who doesn't really get a whole lot of, I wouldn't say a whole lot of spotlight, but he does a lot of the dirty work for Illinois. He's able to step out and be that stretch 4 and shoot some threes. And he's a good rim protector and is always a true force on the glass. So Coleman Hawkins, he stepped up today and did a lot besides scoring the basketball. We get past dinner time, and there's that third wave of games. You look at Colorado State and Texas, a low-scoring game that Texas won 56-44. It was the game where Colorado State had 11 points at halftime. 11. It was terrible. They took a page out of Virginia's book when they beat them by 25 in Dayton on Tuesday. And
they couldn't get out of it.
They really couldn't, though. They couldn't get out of that funk. And then Iowa State took down South Dakota State 82-65. It wasn't, a bad game overall. Iowa State had that game in control. And then another popular 5 versus 12 pick, in regarding McNeese State, was tarnished. Gonzaga just absolutely blew the doors off of them, 86-65. I had McNeese State going to like the Sweet 16 in like 1 or 2 brackets. I just did not believe in Gonzaga one bit. And obviously that paid the price in that regard. But the game that I think took everybody by surprise.
Definitely.
Oakland, Kentucky, man.
Definitely.
We were on the phone during this game. We were just talking, and the entire time, Jack Golke, 10 3-pointers. He shot 10 for 20 from the field. This is all bench, by the way. 10 for 20 from the field. All 20 shots were threes. All 10 makes were threes. 32 points, 2 rebounds, 0 assists. This is March. What is it?
It's crazy that he just plays like that. It's funny that people like that even exist, but they do. Yeah. And that really If I was a Kentucky fan, I'd be sick to my stomach, and I would definitely want Calipari gone. It's gone on too much. It just has
way too long.
They can get a great replacement. So crazy to see Kentucky do this again. Not that surprising. Well, definitely surprising, but like not too surprising that it was Kentucky. But nonetheless, Oakland winning that game is just crazy. I never thought Oakland, Michigan would upset Kentucky in basketball. But here we are, and what's his face? Golke looks a lot like Fletcher McGee.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, I was thinking, is this Fletcher McGee again? Like this it was really weird, but yeah, I mean, he was just out there shooting the rock and everything. And you know, another guy, Rocket Watts, came off the bench. He used to play for Michigan State. And the funny thing is that oddly enough, me and Brady have a lot of things in common, but we also have one extra thing in common, that we both saw Oakland men's basketball play in person this year.
Indeed.
It was really odd to say because you saw them play against Ohio State in the opener, I believe.
Right, yep. And it was close, and Ohio State fans weren't happy with it, but maybe it was a decent win, honestly, at this point.
I mean, looking back at it, I mean, a lot can change over the course of 5.5 months. And then I saw them play against Xavier, a game that Oakland actually won on the road over the Musketeers. So they obviously had something to do with that. And, you know, again, it's March. Expect the unexpected, as our friend the Great Iron Eagle would say. And another thing that really was shocking, though, I mean, one, props to Antonio Reeves. I mean, he's been underrated the entire season. 27 points for him, 11 for 18 from the field, 5 for 9 from the three. He kept Kentucky in this game as long as he could. But the two freshmen who were absolute phenoms this entire season, off the bench, that is, Reed Sheppard and Rob Dillingham, combined for 3 of 14 from the field and 3 of 9 from three. Dillingham having 10 points and Reed Sheppard only having 3.
Yeah, that's rough. That's shocking because obviously, you know, I think they obviously should have started. Kind of hurts them being like, a lot of people think Calipari promised Justin Edwards and what the other one, DJ Wagner starting spots, and so he wouldn't move off of them. But when you got your two best freshmen maybe in the country on your bench, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna come back to bite you sometimes. Like it does not benefit them being on the bench when they're gonna get the same, because people know they're great when they come out. It's not like they're gonna fly under the radar and get open shots now. Everyone knows they're the two best, or two of the top 3 players on the team, probably behind Antonio Reeves. So
exactly,
I just don't get that. And obviously they didn't play well. So that's another thing with Coach Calipari that's very interesting to me and not very smart either.
Yeah, I mean, when you get to March, again, one, you got to go with the hot hands, but two, I mean, when you're bringing your best players off the bench. You know, I mean, obviously, if it's worked so far, I mean, you can keep doing it. But I mean, Dillingham and Reed Sheppard were your top guys the entire season, and to, you know, keep going with the method that they were going. I know they ended up playing, you know, Dillingham played 28 minutes and Sheppard played 26 minutes and took the spots of Edwards and DJ Wagner. And DJ Wagner was horrible. 0 for 5, 0 points for him tonight. Was not good. So they played starter-like minutes, came off the bench. I mean, you know, you can obviously say what you want about all that stuff, but again, another failure of a season for Kentucky in that regard, which they have not won a national championship since the 2011-2012 season and have not made a Final Four since 2014-2015 when lost to Wisconsin. One of the late games finished already. Tennessee beat St. Peter's 83-49. The Peacocks did not have that prowess from their tournament run 2 years ago. They got demolished by an SEC team. Tennessee was able to handle them in that one. Dalton Connect at 23 points and was 8 for 15 from the field. Very easy win for them as they move on. And we'll look at a couple of the matchups that will be going on Saturday. At the moment of us recording, I didn't think I'd have to do this, but live play-by-play, Washington is up by 2 and Drake just got a rebound, and there's 45 seconds and counting. Should I do the live play-by-play here?
Why not?
Over inside, kicks it out for the corner three, shot fake. Oh my goodness, it bounced off out of bounds. Wow. Washington State is up, and the ball just bounced out of bounds off of Drake. And it'll be Washington State basketball with about 35 seconds to go. Again, this is March, man. We are recording this right now past midnight.
Yep.
There are still 3 games going on, this obviously being the most entertaining game, and there's going to be a lot of timeouts. So the thing is, we're unfortunately probably not going to be able to catch a live reaction for this because we're still talking about a couple of these games and everything else. Right. We'll see what happens. But a team you saw play in person, NC State, they at the moment are beating Texas Tech by 15 with 2.5 minutes to go. Just this run that NC State has been on, it's happened before a long time ago, 40 plus years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to go that crazy, but they're up 15 with 2.5 minutes to go on the number 6 seed in the South region. They've won 6 games in the last, last 8 days or so. What sticks out about NC State with you?
They honestly just have a lot of guards that can hit some like crazy pull-up jumpers, and then they obviously have DJ Burns, who's very skilled for a fat 6'9" big man. Who?
Oh my goodness! I'm sorry, Drake just stole the inbound pass, but they called a foul.
Oh,
push in the back.
Rough.
DJ Burns. Continue.
Oh yeah, DJ Burns, like obviously very, very skilled. Somehow has only 1 rebound. That's pretty pathetic. But somehow I don't know what I'm reading. Ben Middlebrooks has 21 points. That guy is not good. I'm not sure how many of you guys that are watching have seen NC State play, but Middlebrooks definitely the worst player.
Bench, man, 21. Wow,
he is not good. He reminds me of Ryan Young from Duke. Maybe a little bit better, but that's who I would compare him to.
Man,
he's the one that missed a dunk against Duke that would have put him up 7, and then he got a technical for hanging on the rim. Mm-hmm. He made the game again. Yeah, and then DJ Horn. DJ Horn is really good.
He's a tough guard. Say that.
Yeah, he's good. I'm surprised. I mean, obviously they're hitting a hot streak now, but they were definitely better than their record showed this year.
100%. Yeah, I mean, 22-14 at the moment. They were able to get hot at the right time, going into the ACC tournament and stole a bid. So they've been playing really good. Burns and Horn have 16 points, and Diarra having 17 points, leading the starters, that is, with Middlebrook, like you just said, 21 points for him. And it looks like this Drake and Washington State game is somewhat getting out of reach as Drake just turned the ball over after Washington State hit 2 free throws. Washington State's up 63-59 with 24 seconds left, and they will be shooting 2 more free throws after Drake just turned the basketball over. So
my bracket is outrageously bad.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. We can talk about that in a moment.
I picked Texas Tech and Drake.
I can't remember though, because I think I had 6 brackets, and I think I picked Texas Tech in like probably half of them. So I don't know what the combination was in that regard. And I picked Drake in like every single one of them. I don't think I picked Washington State in any of them. Washington State just missed the first free throw, by the way. And let's see, on the second one, makes the second one. So it's a 5-point game, and Drake inbounds it. Kansas is only up 9 with 7:50 to go on Samford. Very interesting. Drake goes down the court on a fast break and gets basket 64-61 with 15 seconds and counting. Drake trying to foul, and they do. And that'll send Washington State to the line. I don't have any rosters in front of me, so I can't really say exactly who they are on that regard. But, Washington State's going to go to the line and shoot 2 more free throws. But, yeah, Kansas is up 77-69 right now, 7:53 to go in the game. These late starts are getting me right now. That's why we're doing this super late. But, if all else holds, NC State will most likely move on. We'll see what goes on with Washington State, who was up 3 right now, and they are in the double bonus. And we'll see the first free throw is good. So he makes the first free throw. He's got another shot remaining. I'm surprised Kansas was a 4. I know that they play in the Big 12, toughest basketball conference right now, I would say. 22-10. This Kansas team lacks a lot of depth, though, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. Watching Kansas this year, it was definitely disappointing from what their preseason expectations were. I think they were preseason number 1. So losing all these road games they lost was definitely unexpected. And they obviously win a lot at home, but that's just always what they've done.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure exactly why. Depth is definitely one of the reasons. I also think they need to like Hunter Dickinson is a good player, but I've never been overly impressed with him. I feel like in big games he's never been like that it factor type of player.
Yeah.
And I mean McCullough's a good player, but also like he's out this tournament, so that screws them there. And then DeJuan Harris is not a scorer; he's a passer. Like he's like your traditional point guard. So he's not going to really help you in that asset. But then they got some good players, but they're definitely not. To me, they were not a natty contender. I figured that out probably late February or mid February that I wouldn't have Kansas on really my radar for a national championship.
Yeah, that depth does play a long way. If you got, their start when everyone's healthy, they have a very good starting lineup to say the least. But the fact of the matter is, their best player is not even going to be on the court this tournament. So, and asking for other people to step in for that role for Kevin McCullough is going to be tough. So now we'll take a look at some of the Saturday games coming up. No times released. Some of the spreads are out right now, but obviously you guys can go do what you want with that at a later date. Big one for Brady, Michigan State, North Carolina. That's a classic matchup right there.
Yeah, it is.
Very excited to see how that matchup goes. Obviously, North Carolina, a 1 seed, Michigan State. Whenever it's March, they show up ready to play with Tom Izzo. Then looking down, Dayton and Arizona. Interesting matchup from Salt Lake City. That'll go on. Texas, Tennessee, the Rick Barnes game. I'm excited to see that one. Texas with a lot of veteran play on that team, especially the all-time active leading scorer, Max Asmus. And now we also get to see Dalton Connect on a bigger stage as well. Iowa State's going to take on Washington State. That was just updated. Washington State ended up winning the game 66-61 just a moment ago. And then Oregon and Creighton. That'll be an exciting game to see.
Oh, absolutely.
Both teams, start finding the basket and that game could really be an arcade game in that regard. So I'm excited to see that one. And Duquesne and Illinois, they will play each other on Saturday as well. Oakland is most likely going to take on NC State in a matchup on Saturday. Let me check real quick. The final score on that, NC State won 80-67 over Texas Tech. So down goes a Big 12 team in that regard. So you got the number 11 NC State in the South region taking on number 14 Oakland. So there will be a double-digit seeded team that will make the Sweet 16 in that region. So very excited to see how that goes. And then Gonzaga is waiting the winner between Kansas and Samford, which is now a 79-75 game with 5:53 to go.
Wow.
In that one, looking at the leading scorer, Hunter Dickinson for Kansas, having 19 points. They actually have a lot of scoring all around. DeJuan Harris, not one of those guys. He has 9 points, but it's been their starting lineup. KJ Adams, 18 points. Hunter Dickinson, 19. Johnny Furphy, 13. DeJuan Harris having 9. And then Nicholas Timberlake with 14. And they have one guy with 6 points off their bench. So
Nicholas Timberlake. I forgot about that guy.
Yeah, I know. And then the guy to look out for, Achor. I might have been saying his name wrong in that regard, but from Melbourne, he's got 21 points and 7 rebounds on 8 of 19 shooting. So he's been very big for Samford. 79-76. We're going to end this recording. So somebody let us know what happened in that Kansas game. We'll be watching. Don't worry. But yeah, we'll be back at it again, hopefully tomorrow, and talk about day 2 of March Madness and the recap. So for that being said, Chase Johnson, that's Brady King, and we'll see you guys next time, being tomorrow.